Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, yo, Crawford, wake your ass up. Quit taking it to the stupid. Word on the street is Canelo may have overtrained, and we getting all excited. Say, here we go, Crawford about to put the Omaha, Nebraska Bing Bings on Canelo. But then you've come out here and listen to a guy like Stone Cold Steve Nelson, Crawford's buddy, partner in crime, one of his sparring partners, and he starts to talk and run his mouth and let us all know basically that Crawford's undertrained, underprepared. Everybody likes and respects him so much they're afraid of him or whatever it is. They don't want to beat his ass. That Crawford has got this newfound power, newfound strength. Canelo's going to see just how much of a beast Crawford is. Yeah, he was running us up out of training camp. Oh, hold on now. Hold your horses. It sounded to me like Crawford was up in training, sleeping his ass off, eating some good meals, being in a nice, warm little house, and not end up being uncomfortable and being pushed to the limit and getting the bing bings put on him. So that way he is conditioned and ready to absorb whatever Canelo's dishing out, and to be able to, by maybe the early rounds, mid rounds, late in the fight, whatever, pick up the pace and take control. Sound like somebody should have been shouting to Terence Crawford, wake your ass up, it's time to train. Ain't no sleeping in the ring. Y'all better understand this whole lead up to Canelo and Bud, and one of the most intriguing subplots, man, has just been about the fight itself. Who's prepared, who's not prepared. I'm the only one talking about preparations. Ain't nobody else talking about this shit. Just for that, y'all should become a member to the channel, because ain't nobody, they talking bullshit. I'm giving y'all the real. Canelo out here, man, in his gym, overtrained probably, but you know, that shit's been painted as far as what Canelo's going through. Pushing a gauntlet of gym wars, mini fights. Crawford described as, more controlled, calculated, and, surprisingly comfortable sparring sessions. Let me tell you something. No matter what you think about Canelo Álvarez, even an overtrained Canelo Álvarez, undertrained Crawford has no business in there with an overtrained Canelo. Viva Mexico, Cabrones. All bad for Crawford. What's Crawford doing in training camp, being in full control, full command of sparring sessions? What's he doing in the ring with his sparring partners and controlling that? Dictating the pace? Hell, Crawford doing, man, getting ready for 168 and dictating the pace with some 168 pounders, some cruiserweight. Man, get out of here with that bullshit. This is all bad. Crawford doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't stand a chance if this is true. Hurting his partners, dictating the pace, controlling the sparring sessions, and rarely, if ever, being pushed to the point of exhaustion because he's just in that great a shape. He's an alien. Well, he should have had Hood Champion in there sparring with him. I'd have pushed him to the point of exhaustion. Fuck, I would have bit him. I'm going to make your ass uncomfortable in here. Because that's my job, man. I don't come in here and make this easy for you. You going in, because Canelo ain't going to make it easy on him. Canelo going to come in that ring. He going to be on that dancing horse. I want to hear none of these Crawford fans crying and all that shit. Oh, man, Canelo was on something. No, I'll tell you what Canelo was on. He was on to the fact that Crawford undertrained. And he was supposed to blast his ass up out of there. What you doing in sparring and not getting pushed to the point of exhaustion, not getting work? What are you doing? One guy is overtrained, and just took it to the stupid, went too far with the shit. The other guy didn't go far enough. What are we getting here, people? Gonna get a boring ass fight is what we're gonna get. Now that whole contrast is fuel speculation. You know what I mean? It's Bud underestimating Canelo by undertraining. But then some say, you know what, man? All of y'all are wrong. This is just a masterclass of energy conservation. To the guy who and the girl who say that, hey yo, quit taking it to the stupid. Bud has just mastered the art of energy conservation, so he it may be perceived as undertraining. But this is just called working smarter, not harder. The hell out of here, man. Crawford even told you. He gave you a peek behind the 10 flaps. They filmed him earlier this year in an interview. Crawford openly admitted he wasn't training hard yet. I remember when he said that shit, I was like, what? Explaining that when he's in the gym, he gives his all. Didn't want to burn himself out months before fight night. That's all I need to hear. I don't need to hear no more. I don't need to hear no more from Terence Crawford. He ain't taking this shit serious. I'm convinced now he just wants the payday. He wants payday. And not the candy bar. He wants the cha-ching ching, Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill, y'all. Because when turkey's in the house, every day is Thanksgiving. That's all he wants. He don't want to work. Now, I'm telling you right now, man. Focusing on light strength work and skill maintenance. Saving the real push for later. When's later? What's later? Fight night? That's not when you go in there and decide, oh, this is where I want to work. You got to work in training camp. So red flag. Penalty on the play. Now, that's just how I see it, but others, they just feel that this is the mark of a veteran who really understands the dangers of overtraining. And look, I understand there's a delicate balance, but still, you can't be in the ring just chilling in your pajama. They're trying to wake your ass up to do some work. That's just not how it works. So the key takeaway is that this was intentional. A pacing strategy, maybe, not laziness. Dude out here cutting the grass and shit. You can hear that dude all up in my microphone and shit. But anyway, y'all may say, where you getting this from? I'm just drawing a conclusion based on the sparring partners talking. You know what I mean? You get these guys come out here talking about it's a controlled approach. You know what I mean? Crawford sparring, Crawford's training, his camp, everything's been controlled. It's been strategic. It's scientific. It sounds like bullshit to me. You get all these different accounts from inside the camp. They keep saying Crawford is the dominant force in sparring. Who's he sparring? That's all. That's my question. Who is he sparring where he's the dominant force? All his partners saying he was hurting him, he was controlling the action, never allowing himself to be drawn into unnecessary wars. I just don't see how that is going to help him for Canelo. Now, that's a stark contrast to what Canelo's reports are saying, where sparring partners are paid to push him to the brink. Crawford team seems to have prioritized in me quality over quantity, sharp, purposeful rounds rather than endless slugfest. So, for me, I need to know you in there working. You getting punched in the face, hit to the body. They're not just sitting there like, oh, this is Bud, this is, the pound for pound boxer in the world, and be intimidated or feel like you don't want to hurt him. No, get in there and hurt him. You know what I'm saying? He even got his sparring partners trying to hype up the KO. Crawford's going to KO Canelo. Who, how, who, what, when, where, why, how? Is Crawford going to get in there and knock out Canelo if he's undertrained? He going to hurt him. I mean, come on, man. Look, while this builds hype, right? When you get these people coming out here talking this craziness, it builds hype. It really does. But I think it raises questions about responsibility. Is it wise to publicly crown your man a KO artist before he even fought at the weight? It's one thing to say you think he's going to win. But for these guys to be basically saying, Crawford is going to KO Canelo, that tells me that if Crawford is looking that good in training camp, that means his sparring partners are looking that bad. He should have got different sparring partners. Simple. And if his sparring partners didn't do their job and basically try to F up Crawford's going to develop a kind of overconfidence. And in a fighter, that's not good, because now there's, for the fans, it creates an unrealistic expectation. It also invites a whole lot of scrutiny, just like right now, I got the hairy eyeball on this guy. So if Crawford doesn't score a knockout, will the narrative turn against him? Hell yeah. People already don't want him to win. They already disrespect him. So I think his sparring partner should have pushed him harder. I think they should have tried to knock him out. And that's the whole other side of the debate. Who are these guys he brought in the training camp? Did he pay them enough for them to say, you know what, I'm going to work hard? Maybe he ain't paying him enough. He's need to pay him like Canelo. Say, no, I'm paying you to do a job, kick my ass. And now, I don't know, maybe Crawford should have been in a position of overtraining too, but they should have been pushed him to exhaustion. Crawford shouldn't have been controlling anything. And definitely try to knock him out, because they got to simulate the danger that Canelo brings. Canelo brings that danger of knocking you out. And in most elite camps, the goal isn't to, you don't want to win a sparring session, but you want to prepare the fighter for every possible scenario. You keep Crawford in control, his team may have preserved the body, preserved his confidence, but they may have denied him the chance to feel what it's like to be under sustained fight level pressure from a bigger man, which is what Canelo's going to do to him. So they've done him a disservice. Now, there's a little bit of a risk by not stress testing Crawford. You got to put him under some kind of stress. Now, if Canelo brings a level of physicality that we know he can bring, that means Crawford hasn't felt it in camp, and he's going to be shocked when he feels it when the fight happens. And all this shit about Crawford being able to adapt and adjust, it's not going to happen. Canelo probably going to blitz his ass up out of there within the first couple of rounds, or Crawford going to turn into a boxer runner or Jamel Charlo, and he going to run the last 12 rounds, because he's not going to be accustomed to that kind of power, and he ain't going to want to deal with it. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. You got to make the place dangerous. In training camp, you got to create some firsts for Crawford. First time exhaustion, first time adaptation, first time reassessment. You know what I mean? You got to create some firsts in that training camp for him to be bubbling up. Another two division to fight at 168. I know Crawford has a history of sparring naturally bigger men, including super middleweights and light heavyweights like Steve Nelson. But come on now, Steve Nelson, he can fight. He fought Diego Pacheco, but Steve Nelson ain't no damn Canelo. He needs some guys that's going to come in there and really push him. He should have sparred Andy Ruiz. It's my opinion, but Andy Ruiz for sure could take a pound of flesh out of Crawford. But it just doesn't seem like Crawford is going to be when it ran today, boy. Feeling tired already. It's only 12:14. I got errands to run. But the bottom line is, Crawford is not going to be familiar with that size and power. You know what I mean? And Canelo's just a different animal. But the bottom line, there's a difference between controlled gym work and live opponent training, trying to take your head off for 12 rounds. And I'll be honest with you, I think he should have been in there with a live opponent trying to take his head off. Because when you get in there with Canelo, that's what he's going to get. Anyway, there's a bit of a Canelo angle with all this. Now, from Canelo's perspective, he's like, yo, he believes that Crawford hasn't been pushed to the edge in camp. And if Canelo really... Boy, I'm tired. If he really buys into this and he gets in there and in the first round steps to Terence Crawford, he could overwhelm him early and get him out of there, knock him down, or hurt him badly. But either way it goes, it changes the course of the fight, because now Crawford, no matter what his mind tells him to do, he's not going to do it, because he's going to know deep down that he's undertrained and he wasn't ready for the task at hand. Canelo's just got to recognize, okay, I got an opportunity here. This guy isn't ready for this kind of opportunity. Now all of a sudden you see Canelo early in the fight pushing the pace, letting go of those big power shots. The danger for Canelo is assuming that not being pushed means not being ready. I mean, Crawford got a different kind of style now. We know that. Timing, composure, being able to figure things out. It doesn't require him to be in gym wars to be sharp. But I just think coming in fresher could be a bit of an advantage if Canelo's own camp has left Canelo with heavy legs and dull reflexes. But what if Crawford didn't sharpen up his tools enough to come in there and take advantage of the damaged Canelo? And now all of a sudden, the guy Canelo with the heavy legs, heavy arms, and dull reflexes, he comes in there and he starts touching up Crawford. It's just stupid, man, to know that you got guys fighting at this level who don't stop the sparring and say, kick my ass. Or bring people in who he knows and not going to care about him, not going to respect them. They're just there to do their job. And they're really big threats. But someone say Crawford is just that good that there's no one he can find. If Usyk likes and respects him so much, Usyk should get in there and spar him the way he fought Daniel Dubois. If Crawford stands up to that, then Crawford is the GOAT. You know what I mean? But he ain't going to do that shit. So the bottom line is ultimately there's a strategic gamble. Crawford's camp is a calculated gamble. By keeping sparring controlled, he's betting on arriving at the fight night fresh. Arriving and being healthy and mentally sharp. Finish this and I'm up out of here, boy. He's got to be healthy, he's got to be fresh, he's got to be mentally sharp. So the risk is that he hasn't simulated the exact kind of sustained high-impact pressure that Canelo can bring. The reward is that he avoids the wear and tear that could rob a fighter of their best weapons. Now, if this was the undertaking, it's like, yo, let's come in here and less is going to be more. I just think if it's undertraining, man, or perfect pacing, if this was just brilliant strategy, I guess this will only be clear. We'll find out when the bell rings, and by then, ain't no going back to say, we got this wrong. Hopefully they'll be saying we got it right. But I'm just telling you, Canelo Álvarez ain't no joke. Crawford out here may have underestimated him, or he may have really expected his sparring partners to do him a solid and kick his ass and do their best, and maybe they just did enough to get Crawford ready to walk out for round one, but not to make it through the first round. And if they did that to him, they did him a disservice, and Crawford, friends or not, should fire them all. And he should have fired him and brought in other people. But one thing for sure is Bomac ain't gonna let Crawford undertrain. Bomac to Terence Crawford is like Eddie Murphy to Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall don't want nobody to talk bad about Eddie Murphy. And Bomac don't want you to say nothing bad about Crawford. Bomac will fight you over Crawford. But anyway, we're going to find out what's really going on. Feeling tired as shit, boy. Time for me to go out here and get some coffee, run my errands, and chill. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Sounds like Crawford should have woke up and trained instead of underestimating Canelo and thinking that I'll just be a little smart in my sparring approach. I don't want him to push me too hard. I don't want to leave it all in the ring. I want to peak at the right time. And all that's good, but maybe they should have pushed him a little more, because I just don't understand how Crawford was beating the shit out of his sparring partners and controlling his sparring partners. Nah, maybe we should have seen him come out there with a couple black eyes and some blood out of his nose, blood out of his ear, and shitting and pissing in the ring. Maybe we should be hearing about the same things that happened to Canelo in his training camp happened to Crawford. Seems like neither one got it right. Canelo overtrained, Crawford undertrained, and the fans are going to probably be a bit disappointed when you see this shit be a boring fight. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. In the breeze.